All right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the truth hour with General Sarah. Soon said he kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. It's going down today, family. We This is an exclusive presentation, for the upcoming election, November this Sunday, November the 24th is going down. The secret gods of Thanksgiving, and so we most definitely got to give y'all some crumbs. You feel me? Of intellect, some jewels, so y'all know that this is most definitely gonna be. This is a research. The general. I always come from out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? I've studied long enough where I just jumped through portals and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like motherfucking Doctor Strange and shit, jumping through portals, research information. And so today we're gonna be dealing with the Kemetic Vikings, Kushite colonies in ancient Scandinavia. A lot of people, this is beyond, because the truth has never been told. You see, the truth has never been told. And so we for the first time, we waking up out of a slumber of ignorance. But let's matter of fact, let me go on and get what. Oh, is that it right there? No, that's not the one. That's not the one. That's not the one I want. That's not the one I want. Here it is, right there. Right there. There it is. You see. So yeah, we're gonna operate so people know exactly what, because a lot of people think that there's some miscalculation. No, it's not a miscalculation. That our people been was in them areas also. Much earlier than the Vikings. The Vikings is late in that area. You see, the Celts was in there before they was in there. You see, and as far as a European, but the Africans been in there since you had the Carthaginians, you had the Egyptian, Ethiopian colonies, armies had conquered all of Europe. You see, the Greeks had even said that. They talk about the army of Sesostris, which is Senusret, you see, who had conquered all of Europe and had went as far to the other ocean. So he had conquered to the down to the Pacific. You see? So it wasn't, and they don't want to talk about that because those are ages, long before they even came on the scene. Let me get this in here. Matter of fact, let me put it right where I need to put it. We're gonna jump right on the maps, because that's where we're gonna operate. That's where we're gonna operate. Okay, let me come on in here. Okay. Okay, here we go. We're in the house. We're in the house. That's right. We're in the house. And so let me see. Let me see if I can move that one up just a little bit. Yeah, it's taking off just a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll take this one out. What I'll do is let me take this one out for a minute just so I can operate. I need to be able to see the whole map. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I come down just a little bit, I get a bigger picture. Okay, I got a bigger picture. Got a bigger picture with that one. All right. So now, so what we know of, as the Vikings, and people got to understand that Viking is an action. Is an action. It means to raid. It doesn't designate who you are, what you look like, or none of that. You see, it's always been prescribed for people to believe that the Vikings, were all Caucasian. That and our people haven't even been haven't even been taken into consideration. Because we have always, just given, the Europe to the European, and act as if they have always been there, and they have not always been there. They have not always been there. When you go to the oldest, the Grimaldi, and you know the what they call the Venuses, one of them being the Venus of Willendorf, and then you had this age of the Venuses in Europe, the little dolls, and you know that was placed down in the graves, but you know they don't go in depth showing that these were African graves, that they were buried in the fetal position all throughout Europe. You see, all throughout Europe, and so and show you that they was also found in Africa too, and all through Asia, with the African, especially the little short Twa peoples, you know, and so the leprechauns and all these the dwarfs and and all these magical elves, and you know, where did it come? It just don't come out of nowhere. And so what people got to understand, they think that, you know, mythology is some made up stories. And that history is somehow the truth, undisputed truth, which is not true. Many times mythology is more truthful than history. That's real. But it be cryptic. You see, it's encrypted. And, you know, it needs somebody to, you know, to pull the shroud and the veil off of the information, you know. And so when people don't have access to that, they write it off as being, you know, a fairy tale or some fable or something, you know. But many times the mythology is realer than the history. And so now when you're talking about the Mediterranean, you have to understand that our people have always been great mariners and navigators of the seas and oceans. You know, have always been great navigators and mariners of the seas and the oceans. And even when you go into Egypt, you know, that our people was so connected to water that all the kings had ships that were laid alongside their burials that they would take to that ship and sell off into the celestial Nile to be one with the Holy Mother and Father, Osiris and Isis. You know, that they would take to their ship. You would go into the temples and there would be an ark to the deities in the Holy of Holies. So it shows you the connection that our people had to water, you know, and how masterful our people had become, you know, navigating on the seas. And so not only had they mastered the Mediterranean, they had mastered the Indian Ocean. They had explored the whole of the Indian Ocean, you know, learning the monsoons and learning the rivers in the oceans, the currents in the oceans that would take them to specific places. And so now when we talk about the Phoenicians, we talk about Carthage, which the age of Carthage was 814 to 146 BC. And so Carthage ruled the whole of the Mediterranean. That Carthage ruled the whole of the Mediterranean before Rome. Okay, before Rome. And so really, all the islands that you see in the Mediterranean, Sardinia, Corsica, all of that, Crete, all of that belonged to Carthage. You see, it belonged to Carthage. And so that they were in control of Spain, the majority of Spain, that they had even some control of southern France. And then when they had, you got to understand that not only were they had taken control of much of Italy for a while. So a lot of people don't, they don't show that. So, the Carthaginians had taken control of a lot of both sides of the damn Mediterranean Sea. You see, so now and so that was long before. You don't have the Viking age until 800 CE. You see, to 1050 CE. So the Africans were already in Spain as conquerors and rulers thousands of years before the Vikings ever got there. Okay. Now, why am I saying Kemetic Vikings? Because there are a lot of, similarities that just cannot be wrote off as a coincidence. Now, me, myself, I understand something much deeper, that even, when you're dealing with the Medu Neter, that the majority of the top scholars that, were linguists that were supposedly deciphering the language of the ancient Egyptians were from Germany. A lot of people don't understand that Germany was the citadel of, the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic studies. That means that, in order to get a degree in Egyptology, that you had to go to Germany. That includes the British, that includes the Americans. All they early scholars went to to Germany to get their degrees. Okay, Breasted, Breasted, who opened up the Oriental Institute in Chicago with the funding of Rockefeller. And he got his degree in Germany. And so this is where, the thing that I started to notice was that a lot of the Egyptian terminologies was coming up in the Viking mythology. I say, well, how is that possible? You see, how is that possible? Because when you look at Thor, again, that's Horus. You see, I don't want you to drift away from that. That's exactly what it is. And so, let me drop this, because I'm gonna give you a gem now. I'm gonna give you a gem to run with now. I ain't gonna I got to give you a couple gems. You know what I'm saying? But I got some work now. I got some work. Where's that one? Right there. That's the one I want right there. Okay. Now, in the Nordic end of the world saga, which they call Ragnarok, you see the twilight of the gods, where this is where this great war, and you always talking about these wars in heaven, you see. And so this is a war in heaven in Asgard, where all the adversaries, each one of the gods got an adversary. You see, Odin, the All Father, he go to war with Fenrir, which is this giant goddamn wolf. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker, so he damn near tall as the planet. You see, and so Odin go to war with Fenrir, and Thor go to war with the Midgard serpent. You see what I'm saying? And so when the story of Ra and his nocturnal journey through, at night when the sun set, Ra goes into the underworld and he sails along when it could be called the underworld, the Celestial Nile. He sails along the Celestial Nile, but there is in the shadows is his great adversary, Apophis or Apep, which is the giant serpent. And you see many times, you will see first it was Set. It was Set that was defending Ra. And then you will see Horus also takes defense. Right here you see Set, who is defending Ra against Apep or Apophis. And so this is another, a version of it where you see Ra sailing through the Celestial Nile with his entourage of other deities, and in this serpent that comes out, to try to attack and destroy Ra. But this is what you find this same story in Ragnarok, where Thor, which is Hor, fights the Midgard serpent. And so, we know, and I clearly brought this out long time ago. You see what I'm saying? This was just, studying ancient history. This was just something that I seen. And I say, wow, how is this possible? That you find the same exact story and the name is exactly the same. You see? And so I knew then, I say, yeah, I got to look much deeper. And we're going to be talking, tomorrow I'm going to give you a preview, but everything I'm showing, this tree magic of the Kemetic Vikings, these are segments of the lecture on Sunday, because we need to go there so you can see for yourself, even the trees and shit and this, that, and the third. It's always been taught even about these groves and shit, the druids and shit, that they go into these groves and in the forest, which is like, they are like temples and, in of nature, and a grove is a particular area where, it's flat, but it's totally surrounded by trees. You know what I'm saying? So you'll keep coming into a forest until you come to a area where there's no trees, but it's surrounded, and unless you go into the forest, you will never find it. You see? But a lot of people don't understand that even in the temples of ancient Egypt, you see the grove. You see, it's built, but somebody got to teach you this. So when you come into the hypostyle hall, that's what you see. This is a grove, in the Celtic, this is a grove where, it's so totally surrounded by trees. And if you didn't know where it was, you probably would never find it. It's hidden from, and it's probably deep in a forest. And so you probably would never find it, but it's totally surrounded by trees. And in the middle would be an altar, and they would have, they will perform all types of, rituals and ceremonies. But you had that in Egypt too. The hypostyle hall is the grove. You see what I'm saying? And when you come through the grove, you'll find the altar. You see what I'm saying? That's what. And so you can see that it is most definitely an ancient spirituality that has spread out all over the planet, and that the Africans had taken this all over the planet. So even what they quote unquote call the Viking, because you got to break that down, because there have been a lot of African people that had went all through them areas before the Vikings had even come on the scene. You see, before they had come on the scene, because really, when you start talking about, yeah, that's right. Even when you start talking about, which one I was? Oh, the Romans was really backtracking, the steps of the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, when they conquered Carthage, they literally had re-engineer, they had to reverse engineer Carthaginian ships, because the Carthaginians had more advanced ships than the Romans. You see what I'm saying? They had more advanced ships than the Romans, and so they reverse engineered the Carthaginian ships. And that what gave them some ability to be able to sail out and do, and like when the Romans went to Britain, that's because the Carthaginians had already been there. They were backtracking and going to all the places that the Carthaginians had already been. And I'm gonna tell you this, studying etymology for so long, it's just like certain words that just click when I hear it. You see, and I'm going to just tell you, when you start dealing with some of that Scandinavian terminology that you get to hear, like when you break it down and you say Celts, or Celtic. And you see the L is in the Celtic. You see Celts, Celts or Celtic. Celtic, Celtic, Celtic. You see the L is there, but not only in the Celtic, but in the Gaelic, You see the Gaelic. You see so the L is in that. And the fact that they call it's the Baltic Sea. The Baltic Sea. You see, and so there's, a lot of Phoenician, Carthaginian words that are wrapped up in a terminology. But when you look at it, the Carthaginians had wars with the Celtics. The elk, that's right. That's right, the land of the elk, Ray. You hit that right on the head, good brother. You did. You hit that right on the head. And that is, I had that in my but in the as far as the terminologies, you see, Santa Claus and shit, the elk, I did have that in there. You see, but yeah, they got a whole lot of terminologies from the Egyptians, the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, and so the thing is that the Carthaginians had wars with the Celtics before the even got there, because the Celtics, their time was really from 1000 BC to a little bit past, the Roman, when the Romans left from over in Britain, you see, which was about 400 something BC, 400 BC. So the Carthaginians, and so of course they had intertwining with the Celtics, you see, and so so obviously, and when you got a superior culture, those who are less than you in culture are gonna take from you. They didn't have no written language. You see, all that shit that y'all calling the runes and the things of that is nothing but a mixture of Phoenician, Egyptian, because they didn't have no damn alphabet. Now, another thing that is what you trying let's see right there, Carthagena, the Baltic. The Celtics, Kel, that's right, with a C. Celtic. Yeah. Celtic. You see? Yeah, but anyway, and Baltic, the Baltic Sea, Bal, but Baal is one of the chief deities of the Phoenicians. Yeah, one of the chief deities of the Phoenicians. And so, and El is another one of the chief deities of the Phoenicians. And so this is where you get Elohim and El Shabbat and all that. You get all that El and Bethel and Emmanuel and Elijah and Eli. That's El. And so but that's the Phoenician language. And then you get Baal. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So that's where some of the terminology that the Celtics got from the Phoenicians. Now, a lot of other things that they got, like the rune stones. Now, the rune El Shahada, that's true. The rune stones, which are nothing but stellar, and stellar are stone slabs in which, they carve, it could be spells, it could be just a decree, a decree, a king's decree. It could be a battle has taken place on this land and they install it's a memorial. A lot of times it's a memorial. And so, you in the Vikings, they got rune stones that are technically carved the same way. And they also have sarcophaguses. And what cracked me up, and a lot of people just don't understand it, that the Vikings buried a lot of their chieftains with the ship, just like the Egyptians buried their kings with the ship. And that was something that was unique. That you had to look at that. And the thing is that the runes are also used for divination. And so the Egyptian priests, they had a language that was alphabetical, and then they had a language that was with symbols, which was used for divination. And this is what it was taught. It was a secret language only for the priests. And so that was very, very significant too. And so we most definitely going to, let me show you the runes. Let me show y'all the runes. Let me get a rune. That's one, but I want to see the. Okay. See, this is a rune stone. Let me put that up there. See, that's a rune stone. But that's nothing but a stela. You see, the Egyptian stela is here. You see, and then you got the rune stone where they carve a decree or something on there. But see, they didn't have no language. They didn't have no language. They got that language from the African. The African gave them that alphabet. They didn't have no damn alphabet. What are people that only got goats and shit, and they don't even got no sophisticated goddamn culture to have no goddamn alphabet? You know what I'm saying? Shit, you ain't even, in order to have an alphabet, you're gonna need more than some damn stone. You're gonna need paper to develop an alphabet. You're gonna have to have to be able to be fluid. You know what I'm saying? Is you're gonna carve in stone all the goddamn time. That's not fluid. You got to have paper. You have to have ink. And so they don't have no books. And so the Africans, when they come upon them, and they probably was the ones that was creating the rune stone. You know what I'm saying? And just like everything else, when they come in, they take credit for it, erase your name off of it, and put their name on it. You see, but it's hard for me to believe that people gonna come up with with an alphabet and this, that, and I ain't seen one book. I ain't seen one book. You know what I'm saying? What they write it on, and how did they develop it? Because the 99.9% of the damn, the white Vikings was illiterate. So what the fuck did they create an alphabet for? And the majority, if not all of them, remain illiterate until they cease to exist. You didn't even hear about Vikings after so long, they stopped, it's because, like I said, it was the act of raiding and shit. But they still acting, they still raiding right now to this day. They just ain't, you don't look at them as Vikings, but they still Vikings. They still roaming all over the world, running up in people's shit and taking it. So it's still happening. But that's what and we got some hell of a etymologies. And like I say, I got to break it down for you. And I see a lot of people out there, they don't, we got to take them from the basic. You see, yeah. You say Keystone of the Arch. Yeah, Ray trying to go Masonic on me and shit. Yeah, you got, yeah, Ray over there went Keystone of the Arch. He didn't went over there. Yeah. Which one? Which one you talking about, Ray? That's Norse symbolism. I wasn't looking down in the chat. I just kind of looked down. Ray, Ray cracking up. Ray out there acting up in class, man. Ray out there acting up in class, throwing spitballs in the goddamn class. What you doing, Ray? But anyway, family, on them rocks. Oh yeah, well, you know what? All of them got something different. The ones I just showed is what you let me go back to the one you was at. Now this the Medu Netta right there, but I don't know what the fuck wait a minute, where the one I had? Oh, right there. This one right here is that's some old AI shit. Now this one right here, you can see right there that look like the Midgard serpent. That's the Midgard serpent right there. But each one of them symbols, they got a definition for it. You see, they got a definition. Now, that arrow right there, if I'm not mistaken, that's T-wise. Anytime you see that arrow right there, that's T-wise. Now, see right there. Now that's crazy because that's that like that lightning, but that's the same one that the Nazis and shit use. Now I don't know who that lightning bolt. That might be Thor. That might be one of the Thor's symbols. But I know that arrow because that's T-wise. That's Tyr, the god of Tuesday. And some and see the thing is, they could be alphabetical, but then it could be a symbolism. So they could be alphabetical, and then they could be used for divination at the same time. And so this ain't nothing that can't be explained. You see what I'm saying? This ain't nothing that can't be explained, but it's not ironic that they smooth the top off. They give it a circular top, like a lot of the stellar, you know what I'm saying? There's no doubt that that it's been influenced. Yeah, it's no doubt that it's been influenced. Yeah, they symbols most definitely. Now this over here is some AI, but these is the particular rules, and then you got the older ones, and you got some that are a younger language, but we're gonna be getting off into that. I just want to give y'all a little sneak peek. You feel me? That I say I'm just playing with Ray say I'm awake. I know you is, man. I'm just playing with you. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna be black tomorrow. I'm gonna most definitely tighten. We're gonna start off. You say checking in from the plantation, but come in tomorrow, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off tomorrow, straight with the knowledge. We're gonna come straight in, and we're gonna get busy, and I'm gonna set it up, and I'm gonna touch on some things and let y'all know what we're gonna be dropping. And when we get to the lecture, it's just gonna be all visuals. You feel me? Ain't gonna be no interacting with the audience or nothing. I'm gonna just be focusing strictly on the visuals and the information. And so right here, like right now, 30 minutes in the lecture is like, how much information we would have dropped by. It just be so much goddamn information just in 30 minutes. So y'all just lock in and be ready. Click that link, and it's gonna be we're gonna start off around 2, no later than 3, the 24th on Sunday. So the link is right in there. But if you don't, you can always watch it. You know what I'm saying? Up to 24 hours, after. So you can, even if you get it, you can go back in and the link, I'll send you the link, and you can watch it even after that. That's right. That's right. All right, family. This is General Sarasun said. He said, hey, arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Black power.